All right, in this explainer, we are tackling a topic that is absolutely fundamental to every single workplace out there: respect. We're going to break down what it really means, what gets in the way, and most importantly, what we can all do to build a better, safer environment for everyone.
But before we dive in, I want you to just take a second and really think about this question. You might say, yeah, of course my workplace is respectful. But what does that word even mean? Because in a team full of different people with different backgrounds and perspectives, the definition of respect, well, it isn't always the same for everyone.
I think this quote from Annie Gottlieb just nails it. Real respect isn't about ignoring our differences or pretending we're all the same. It's the exact opposite. It's about truly appreciating what makes each person unique and valuable.
Okay, so with that big idea in mind, let's get practical. What does a truly respectful workplace actually look and feel like day in and day out?
Here is a huge, crucial distinction. We were all taught the golden rule, right? Treat others how you want to be treated. But genuine, meaningful respect actually takes it a step further. It's about the platinum rule, treating people how they want to be treated. And that requires us to shift our whole perspective from our own world to theirs.
And when you build a workplace on that foundation of respect, the benefits are just massive. Communication is healthier, relationships are stronger, stress levels go way down. And the result, people are way more engaged, more productive, and honestly, just happier to come to work. It's a win-win all around.
Of course, building this kind of culture isn't always so simple. There are two major roadblocks that can completely poison a workplace: discrimination and harassment. So let's get super clear on what these two things actually are.
So first up, we have discrimination. This is when a decision about someone's job, we're talking hiring, firing, promotions, anything like that, is based on something that has absolutely nothing to do with their ability to do the job. Legally, these are called protected characteristics, and they include things like your age, race, gender, or religion.
Now, harassment is actually a specific type of discrimination, but it's less about one single decision and more about the overall work environment. It's any unwelcome conduct based on one of those protected characteristics that's so severe or happens so often that it creates an intimidating or hostile atmosphere for somebody.
Okay, if you're trying to keep them straight, here's maybe the simplest way to think about it. Discrimination is often about a specific action or a decision. Think, I didn't get the job. Harassment, on the other hand, is about the atmosphere. It's about the toxic environment someone is being forced to work in.
Let's zoom in on sexual harassment specifically, because it's one of the most serious and common forms of misconduct. And legally speaking, it's broken down into two very distinct categories that every single one of us needs to understand.
The first one is quid pro quo. You've probably heard this phrase. It's Latin, and it literally means this for that. This is that classic awful abuse of power. It's when someone in authority says something like, you do this for me and I'll give you that promotion, or maybe threatens your job if you don't go along.
The second category is what's known as a hostile work environment. This is when unwelcome sexual conduct is so severe or it happens so often that it literally interferes with a person's ability to do their job. This isn't about one specific transaction, it's about the entire climate of the workplace.
So let's just put it all together, because this is so important. Quid pro quo is that top-down abuse of power, that direct this for that exchange. A hostile work environment, on the other hand, is about the overall climate of abuse. And here's the key point. It can be created by anyone in the workplace: a manager, a coworker, or even a customer or a client.
So why does all this matter so much? Because when disrespect, harassment, and discrimination are allowed to fester, the damage isn't just personal. It creates this toxic ripple effect that can have a truly devastating cost for the entire organization. First off, people just start to check out. The official term is organizational withdrawal. But what it looks like is people calling in sick more often, being less engaged, and eventually your best people start quietly looking for the exit. They're not just leaving a job, they are escaping an environment.
And of course, morale and productivity just plummet. I mean, think about it. It's basically impossible to be creative or collaborative or focused when you're constantly walking on eggshells, dealing with stress and anxiety. Innovation just stops dead in its tracks.
Then there's the cold, hard cash. The financial costs here can be absolutely staggering. We're talking about massive attorney fees, the huge expense of internal investigations, and all of the lost productivity when business grinds to a halt.
And finally, there's the long-term damage to the company's reputation.
Once a toxic culture becomes public, it becomes almost impossible to attract top talent, and even your most loyal customers might decide to take their business somewhere that better aligns with their values.
Now, I know that all sounds pretty bleak, but here is the good news. Every single one of us has the power to be part of the solution. This is not just an HR issue or a management problem. Creating a respectful workplace is truly a shared responsibility.
And one of the most powerful things you can do is learn about bystander intervention. It's a really simple three-stage process. First, you have to recognize the behavior for what it is. Second, you have to make that personal decision to actually do something. And third, you choose a safe way to intervene. And that can mean anything from speaking up directly, to redirecting the conversation, to reporting the incident.
Look, understanding all of these concepts is the first critical step. But real change? That happens when we turn this awareness into confident, decisive action.
And it's so important to remember that this isn't some one-time fix. Building and maintaining a culture of respect isn't a destination you just arrive at one day. It's an ongoing journey that requires real commitment from every single person in the organization.
So to help you take that all-important next step, Highbox for Nonprofits is offering a comprehensive training course that is 100% free. It goes way deeper into everything we've talked about today. You'll learn the key federal laws, you'll master the nuances of harassment, and you'll get practical, actionable steps to build a culture of safe reporting. This is absolutely essential training for everyone, from new hires all the way up to senior leadership.
You have the power to be a catalyst for real positive change in your workplace. So please take that crucial next step today. Go to nonprofit.highbox.co, that's nonprofit.highbox.co, to register for this essential and totally free training. It's time to turn your commitment into action.